Hello students, on our previous lesson we took a look at phrases and clauses. This time we're going to look at dependent and independent clauses. Just as a review, I want to remind you that a clause has subject and a verb combination. So let's take a look at dependent and independent clauses now. That means that both dependent and independent clause contain a subject and a verb. Let's take a look what actually makes them different. Here's the meaning of an independent clause. It says, an independent clause has a subject-verb combination and expresses a complete thought. Because it's a clause, it must have a subject and also a verb. What makes it unique is that an independent clause expresses a complete thought. That means it can stand alone, it's a sentence, it has subject, verb, and a complete thought. So think of it as an independent person. An independent person doesn't really need anything else for it to survive, right? Or for him or her to stay alive. Example number 1 says, Jaime studied with me for the chemistry quiz. It has a subject, Jaime. It has a verb, studied. Can it stand alone? Yes, making this an independent clause. The second sentence reads, Mount Carmel students are amazing. Is there a subject? Yes, Mount Carmel. There's a verb, are, and it can stand alone as a sentence. This is also an independent clause. So if an independent clause refers to a group of words that has subject, verb, and a complete thought and can stand alone, then what is a dependent clause? A dependent clause is a group of words with a subject and a verb, but it does not express a complete thought. So it is not a sentence and it can't stand alone. So a dependent clause is dependent, like the word suggests, much like a child, right? So think of a dependent clause as a child, one that cannot survive on its own. The examples read, if you can work on Sunday. Is there a subject? Yes, you. There is a verb? Can work, right? So there is a verb, subject, verb. Is it a complete thought? Not really. It says if you can work on Sundays, there's something missing, right? So this is a dependent clause for the reason that it cannot stand alone. Example number 2, until the sun sets. Subject is there, sun. Verb is there, sets. Is it a complete thought? Is it a sentence that can stand alone? No. This, therefore, is a dependent clause. It cannot stand alone. The third example says, while flowers continue to bloom. There is a subject. There is a verb. Can it stand alone? No, it cannot stand alone. It says, while flowers continue to bloom, what goes next? There is a missing thought, if you notice. It's an incomplete thought. Example number 4, whenever you come to visit. Is there a subject? What is the verb? Is there a complete thought? The complete thought part is missing, if you notice. It makes you wonder what goes next. It leaves you with questions. Look at it. It says, whenever you come to visit, we will have pastries for you. Whenever you come to visit, we will not be around. There is something lacking, right? This is therefore a dependent clause. It depends on something else. It cannot remain alone, like I said, much like a child, right? The last example says, since I don't have enough money. There is a subject, There is a verb. Is there a complete thought? No, right? So this example is also a dependent clause. Let's practice identifying independent and dependent clauses. So remember that both of them have a subject and a verb because they're clauses. However, what makes them different is the fact that one can remain alone as a sentence and the other one cannot really stand alone because it is an incomplete thought. Now, with that said, let's take a look at number one. Number one says, when we go back to school, has the subject we, has the verb form go. Is it a complete thought? No, it's not a complete thought. It leaves you in thought, right? It leaves you questioning. So that particular example is a dependent clause. Example number two says there are many issues that affect teens. There is a subject. What is the subject? There is a verb. Yes, making it a clause. Can it stand alone as a sentence? Yes, this sentence completes the thought, right? It says there are many issues that affect teens. No questions asked, right? It has subject, verb, complete thoughts. Example number three. It says because we are all under the same sky. There is a subject we, there is a verb are. Does it complete the thought? No, right? It says because we are all under the same sky. What about it, right? It leaves you in thought as well. Number four, if we stay together. Subject, verb, complete thought or not? No, right? No complete thought. If we stay together, we will have better chances. If we stay together, we will survive. Or if we stay together, we will be upset with each other. There are many possible additions that could be added to make it a complete thought, right? So this particular example is also a dependent clause. 5, we can all be very successful. Subject we, there is a verb. Is there a complete thought? Yes, there is a complete thought. That particular example is an independent clause. So there we go with the examples. Now, okay, so as I said, think of the independent clause being like an adult and a dependent clause much like a child, right? The independent clause can remain as it is because it is a complete sentence. A dependent clause, on the contrary, is dependent, like a child depends on an adult, right? It needs more. It needs something else to stand on its own. I hope that was very helpful for you. Do the activity after viewing the 2 videos. Bye guys, have a great day.